It's just been like consistent, like 10K above months.
Downloaded it, I checked the date, July of 2021, and then I left my job in September of 2021.
Since then, I've sold websites, I've pivoted my business. I'm no longer doing social media management.
First one has been like 2,800, and now I just raised them to 3,500.
What has been like your highest month?
13K.
So grateful I came across you on TikTok because it has literally changed my life.
When you were designing on WordPress, were you charging way less? Like, what is that like?
Yeah, way less. I think my first WordPress was like $500.
$500 for a WordPress site versus like up to $5,000 for a show it site.
Welcome back, everybody. My name is Willow. I am the head coach here at Wealthy Web Designer and Becca Luna's amazing husband, if I do say so myself. Today, I have an amazing student of ours with us, Charlotte Annalise of, I want to get this right. It is Dazzling Design District.
Yes.
Amazing. I am so excited to have you here today. I just got to read a little bit about your story, and I can't wait to be able to share that today on today's episode, wherever you're listening to this, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, anywhere. Charlotte, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
How you
Thank
doing?
you. I'm good and so happy to be here, honored to be here. Definitely since I started following Becca, who knows how long ago, I've watched probably every single one of these episodes.
Wow. Well, congratulations on working hard enough to finally be one.
Thank you.
That's a full circle moment right there.
It definitely is. Yeah.
Well, I'm super excited to kind of dive in. You obviously have built your web design business. You've been doing this for what I want to say more than 6 months now.
About 6 months, yeah.
About 6 months. Okay, well let's go way back before 6 months. How did this all start for you?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I found Becca for the first time 2 or 2.5 years ago on Instagram and just started following because I thought it was interesting, to be honest. She's
Yeah.
got great content, so it brought me in, and I have been in kind of the marketing space. I say that lightly. I mean, yes, I've been in the marketing space for probably 7 years, but that literally starts back in like probably junior year of high school. I was
Okay,
doing social
cool.
media management for my family business, and I
Mm,
was just like, Dad, I want to, make some money. Can I do this? And he was like, sure.
yeah.
And so that was kind of the kickstart of me getting into the marketing world and figuring out what was interesting to me and what I liked, what I didn't like. And I got to do that for the family business throughout most of undergrad and kind of went back and forth between some other internships that were all also social media related during that time. And one of those was actually in Germany, which was sick. So that
Yeah.
was a great internship experience and just getting to kind of look at everything that I already knew from a very cross-cultural lens and have to communicate in another language is so hard.
Yeah.
But awesome and such a pivotal experience for me.
I love that.
And yeah, and then I in undergrad I decided to major in psychology and German. German
Okay.
was kind of like the passion project. I just loved it, and I just took a few classes, studied abroad, and decided I needed to keep taking classes, and just ended up majoring in it too. But my school was so liberal arts that it was just like the closest thing to business or marketing was econ, and I took one econ class, and I like hated it. I did not like it at all.
A little different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally different. So I said, my brain doesn't work like that. I'm doing psychology. And I did, and I loved it. And it was, nothing was really specifically like consumer behavior psychology related in those classes. But I think, pretty much everything I learned ties back in some way to what I'm doing now at some point, which is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, and then I just at some point in undergrad decided, okay, I want to do like actual study, get official education in marketing. So I did a master of marketing and came back to Nashville for that, and it was so awesome. I mean, I would go back to business school in a second. I'm such a
Love
nerd.
that.
And yeah, I just loved it so much, and try to get back there as much as I can and talk with current students and all of that.
That
Um,
is amazing.
it was incredible. And yeah, I mean, I kind of had one class in particular, I would say, that was really pivotal for kind of sparking me to potentially move this direction where I am now.
Okay.
And it was, if you've ever heard of the company Story Brand,
Hmm.
one of the, I think he was the president, of it at some point. I don't remember if he currently is.
Okay.
He was a professor for basically one of our semesters of classes and taught a class on like the marketing plan, and it sparked just a little fire in me because he was so encouraging. And in it's not to say that entrepreneurship is not encouraged in business school, because I think it was to some extent for sure where I was. But he was so encouraging. Like, do you guys
Mm,
realize that? And it was like basically just growing a seed that had already been planted from what I'd seen in Becca's videos. He's like, do you realize how much you could make, like, $3,000 to $6,000 or more on one website if you guys get good at
mm,
this wireframe structure and you build a homepage that is this kick butt? Like,
yeah.
like you can literally do this whether you want to do it, on the side of what you
Wow.
do in corporate or on your own. So it was just so cool, like in business school, to hear somebody say that so um just
Well, shout out,
blatantly. And
professor.
yeah, shout out JJ. He's awesome. We're having coffee this week actually.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and yeah, so that moment was just awesome for me because I was thinking, I was planning, like 100% had a corporate job lined up at this point, and I knew that that's the direction that I was going. And to me, it was just like, oh, cool, like, encouragement that this is something I could do on the side if I want to, maybe move out of corporate and into my own business full time down the line, but I wasn't like, picking a one or the other at that point.
Right.
But his encouragement was just awesome and super pivotal for me. And then, yeah, kind of the thing that made the switch was I had a corporate job lined up, and then I moved into it right after graduation, and then I got laid off for budget cuts 5 weeks in, and it was
Wow.
just like, yeah, I'm the planner, and the plan was gone. And it was,
Yeah.
one of those, okay, readjust, shift, figure out what I'm supposed to do next because I want whatever I'm doing to feel purposeful. And that's, I always want to feel passionate about what I'm doing. And it was just, yeah, a little scary, to be honest, to go, whoa, okay, this is totally reevaluate the situation and see where
Yeah.
I'm going to go from here. Um, and yeah, I was kind of all in on job applications for like, this is kind of silly, like maybe a month and a half. And then I was like, I'm
Okay.
tired of this. The job market sucks right now. Because this was it was the end of June of 2025.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, it was just weird.
It's
Responses
a
were
weird
low
market
in
right now
jobs.
for
It
sure.
was it was weird. Yeah. So I was going all in on that, and then I got tired of it, and I said, okay, here's the thing. I've been interested in this. The seed was planted years ago. I love branding. I geek out over it. I think it's so fun. I like web design from what I've done so far, which was like just Squarespace and WordPress, which I don't like at all.
Okay.
But Squarespace I do like. I don't like WordPress. And yeah, and then I just decided to do it. So my launch officially was July of 2025. And by
Okay.
launch, I just mean like I finally finished my own website and I put it out into the world on my Instagram profile, and maybe made a few stories or posts saying, hey, I'm actually doing this thing now. Because I think like a few months before I had done some sort of light, like started to tease content, like I'm gonna do this, but I was still in grad school, and then I realized how busy I was, and I didn't actually do anything with it.
Okay.
So this was like my relaunch, official launch, and here we are, 6 months later.
Wow. What a journey.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. And so now you're taking on clients a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
making some money,
Yeah.
building momentum.
Yes.
How does it feel?
It feels good. It's kind of one of those things where you think about what it's gonna be like for so long, and then it happens. You're like, oh, my life's not that different other than the fact that I'm busy with clients coming in and
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out what to do with all of this.
totally.
Yeah.
So what does you launched in July?
hmm
You've definitely built some momentum. What kinds of businesses do you work with, and what are you offering them right now?
Yeah. So I definitely I'll start with what kind of businesses. I love to tell people I'm not totally niche down in terms of industry, but definitely design style. So
Okay.
more bold, more unique. And I think that that tends to line up with businesses and brand owners that are like very vision driven. I prefer working with female founders, or
Uh-huh.
female run brands, just because I feel like typically that kind of more bold, colorful, unique style is more aligned with female business owners, but not always. It just
Yeah.
depends.
More like
Um,
expressive.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
totally.
And yeah, so I always say top criteria is just that it's someone who's willing to be bold and wants to be bold in the online space, and that they have really strong vision behind what they're doing. Because it's like, if you don't have a strong vision, how can I bring it to life in a way that it can be communicated well with the world?
I love that. And what has it been like going, what are we about 7-ish months out
Mhm.
or like post launch? What has
Mhm.
it been like working with clients? Are you offering custom web design? Are you doing a website in a day? What does that actually look like in terms of like the deliverables you're doing?
Yeah, so I definitely started in 2025 was only doing websites, and then basically, I've always said I want to do have branding offers too. And I think when I launched my site, I didn't have branding offers on it, but I do have branding offers now. And basically, I'm about to start my first branding project, which is awesome. And then
Cool.
just booked a second one. So we can talk about that later if we want to. But yeah, so on the web design side of things, I have the website in a week and website in a
Amazing.
day.
Cool.
And I have yet to do a website in a day. So it's
Okay.
one of those things where it's like I've done the website in a week a couple times, and it's working really well. And then I've kind of tested sort of on my end, just what would it look like actually for me to do a website in a day. And I'm so detail oriented that I kind of have to, figure out what my process is going to be to not
Yeah.
take too long on things, but also do it at the level that I want to get it done. So I'm really excited to do more of those in 2026 for sure.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, the time to money exchange is crazy.
It is. Yeah. And it actually, I feel like as somebody that is detail oriented, I think that it is. It's a weird way of saying it, but I feel like it's like a controller's dream. Like if you like the
Mhm.
control of having all
Mhm.
of the details and making sure that everything is done, it actually can become efficient because you have a clock that you're working against.
Yeah.
And with refinement and with repetition, you really do learn, okay, this is the point that could lead to challenges, or this is the point where if I do all of this, easy, we're done by 4 instead of 5 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch you do that. I'm
Thanks.
curious, in starting to take on clients and in starting to raise your prices, what was it at the beginning in terms of like how did it feel for you at the beginning to start taking payments and to start taking on clients versus where you are now? And is there a price difference from then to now?
Yeah. My first website was $1,200 and I think it was 5 pages. That's kind of when I give people pricing, I say it's for up to a 5 page website.
Okay,
And then it's basically like I'll charge a flat fee per page extra if they have a bunch of sales pages or it's just a more complicated website.
cool.
So that first one was 1,200 and honestly, it was just because I did a beta launch
Uh-huh.
situation.
Cool.
And she was the only one in my beta launch. I wasn't, working as hard as I probably could have been to be getting that out there. Um,
Yep.
but she came from, I actually backtrack a little bit more. When I first started, I asked like a couple friends, like one girl from high school who has a photography business, and I was like, hey, you have a Pixie Set website, and
Yep.
I am learning how to design on this new platform that I don't know how to use. Can I do your website for free? And she was like,
Cool.
sure. So I did,
Yeah.
I think two of those, and that turned into referrals that led to that first client.
I love
So, starting, I just love that it kind of, my business sort of started on relationships and that being important, and now it's even more than I could have imagined. That's still really, really important for client acquisition.
that.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, back to pricing. That first one was 1,200, and I mean, it felt crazy to ask for that amount of money because I think no, I definitely have never done that before for, um, yeah, something that I finished in a week.
I
So
love
it
that.
felt awesome, but it kind of felt like a crazy week. But I also felt just from all of the podcasts and everything I've watched from you guys and CEO of Show It and literally all of the wonderful content you guys are putting out there, I was like, okay, I know I can do this in a week and it's definitely feasible. And also from that kind of trial run period that I did with those couple of free ones. Um, and then the most that I've charged for one website now is 3,200. And
Amazing.
that was actually, I don't do sales ever other than I've decided Black Friday only and then obviously like the beta phase. So
Okay.
I did 50% off for Black Friday. So this website would have been 6,400.
Cool.
Which, I was like, I'm early enough in, like that's cool with me. Like I'll take 32. That's way more than
Yeah.
what I did before. Um,
Amazing.
and finished that in a week. And yeah, that was like probably one of my favorite websites to date. It was awesome.
I love that.
Um,
And 3 grand in a week is something worth celebrating.
yes,
That's
it was
incredible.
definitely worth celebrating. And I think after doing it, like getting that project done and then having positive client feedback, I'm like, I don't, you always every now and then have that sort of feeling inside like I'm newer to charging this much money. Can I do it? And then I just remind myself, look, I already did this. This client loved this. She paid 3,200. What I can keep doing this and
A
it's not going to be a
hundred
problem.
percent.
And you want the right people, and the right people are going to be okay with that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I'm curious, to bring us up to now,
Mhm.
what are you working towards this year?
Yeah. My first kind of big goal when I first started was like, okay, if I can make more in, 30 days than what I would have made in my corporate job, that would be such a sick goal.
Yeah.
And in terms of sales for the past 30 days, I've actually just done that, like since like 2 days
What?
ago, which is crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's like, and that is counting a couple branding related things, and one of them
Yeah,
is like branding and web design kind of tied
perfect.
in together. But that was kind of the first big goal, and now it's just like I still have time in January, so we'll try to make this happen. I would love to do
We'll
10K
have
plus
20
months.
days.
Yes, come on. I would love to do 10K this month and then just keep maintaining that throughout the rest of the year. And obviously if I go above that, I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
100%. Where are you at right now in that? Is that a 30-day span of you wanting to hit that corporate salary number?
Yeah, just like 30-day span. And I think right now I wrote it down. Let's see. I'm at 7,700 within the past 30 days, which I think my take home from that corporate after taxes was like 48. Um,
Wow.
so that's pretty
That's
awesome.
huge. I'm so
Yeah.
proud of you. That's
Thank you.
incredible.
Thank you. It's
What
a
kinds of
weird
things
feeling.
have you had to work through or like tell yourself to have kind of the conviction that you are going to do this when it gets hard or throughout, the whole journey? What have been the things that have really like kept you on track?
Yeah, I think one thing is like my family is very entrepreneurial. My whole family's in the music industry. My parents met because of music, and we, they met and moved to Nashville, and that's why I'm in
Cool.
Nashville.
Yeah.
And I feel like the music industry itself is very entrepreneurial, but like I said, my dad had a business growing up. It was a school of music. That's what I did social media at. And now he has a record label, and just getting to see kind of him building and my parents working together to build something like that definitely gave me kind of an entrepreneurial spirit. So
Yeah.
over the years, I mean, probably 5 years, I've been dabbling in entrepreneurship in some way, shape, or form. And that started with whatever people think of this. I was in network marketing for like
Yeah.
4 years, and I basically was, making side money to pay for some of my college.
Yeah.
And I learned so much in that period. And it's like I'm at the phase where I'm like, I'm glad I'm not doing it now, and I chose to stop for a reason, but it was like more the season of life of just moving on to something else. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was just awesome. And I think that for me was a moment of learning discipline and kind of a new format and all of that. But all that to say, I also in undergrad started my own sort of coaching, or it was kind of the organization space. So I made an online course that was like, here so you can stay organized. If you're multi-passionate, you can accomplish all of these passions and goals that you have. Here are my
Cool.
methods for being organized because I'm kind of an organization freak.
Okay.
I sold that course one time, and I count that as a win. And then I decided
Yeah.
to stop doing it.
Okay.
So to me, that backstory is just saying like I have always had this entrepreneurial spirit, and I have yet to have the thing that fully comes to fruition. And
Hmm.
when I had just like even the moment that I got laid off from my job back in the summer, I was really sad, totally shell shocked. But then in my heart, it was like, and I'm a believer, and I was like, the Lord was just 100% fully telling me, like, I'm closing this door for a reason, and you're going another direction that is so much more meant for you.
I love
Um, and I was like literally crying my eyes out because I was so shocked from that happening, but also had that total peace. Like a little piece of my heart was just like, you have nothing to worry about.
that.
And I think I just had to run with it. And I had to let myself actually bring something to fruition and, trust in the Lord in the whole process and make something happen versus the
Yeah.
past kind of entrepreneurial opportunities that I've tried to make happen that didn't really, ever meet the goals
Yeah.
that I quote had in mind for them.
Yeah. Kind of like surrendering.
Yeah. Yeah. Big
And
time. I mean,
yeah.
crazy. Lots of
Wow.
surrendering. And it's crazy because not to get too like woo, but my first two clients have both been believers, and then this big project that I've just booked that helped me get past that, like more than my corporate job
Yeah.
amount, is working with somebody kind of collaborating who's also a believer, and just so many awesome conversations. And to me, it's just so many signs of like you are going the right direction. Thank you for surrendering and believing in me to do this thing, which has
Yeah.
been great.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. And I am curious, have there been pieces that your faith has brought, like, have what element do you feel like your faith has brought in your entrepreneurial journey? And like maybe specifically more towards this chapter of design and going into
Mhm.
brand and web, do you feel
Yeah.
like it's played a part in your, whether it's courage or conviction or ability to see through some of the hardship or anything like that?
Yeah, totally. I mean, seeing through hardship, I mean, I guess I'm so early on, I can't really say it's been like crazy hard,
Sure.
super, super hard moments in the business, but I think it's just kind of that feeling of knowing like I'm gonna be taken care of. If I've gone this far in my life and I am
Yeah.
buying, like I'm gonna be taken care of,
Yeah.
if I'm relying and surrendering. But also just like I used to be the most introverted person ever, and I just think it's so crazy, going through business school was a huge, huge growth moment for me, and college in general, living abroad a couple times, having so many independent moments, it kind of built me up to who I am today. And I think it's just so cool to look back and be like, I was being pruned for so many different seasons, and now I'm here, and
Yeah.
all of those little things were leading up to me being more confident. This year, one of my big goals is public speaking, which like
Mm.
booking, and I already booked my first gig, which is crazy. And trying to do that more this year. And I'm sidetracking, but all that to say, like it's just, yeah, believing that I'm gonna be taken care of. And there was something else that I was gonna say and I forgot. So we'll see if it comes
Mm.
to me later.
Oh, good. I'm curious with finding that shared value alignment and finding that even like maybe excitement and working with other believers and business owners that embody their faith. Is that pushing you to lean into that as a brand and to try and kind of create a space where you help like kind of that in some ways even becoming your niche?
Yeah, I remember what I was gonna say. So this
Okay.
actually ties well into this question. Right now, I don't necessarily have the plan of that being my niche. But what's cool, and this was again trying to answer that past question, but also this one of the things I think my faith has influenced for me is just being like I went from so introverted for so long and then to the point where I'm now. I the success that has come so far is fully just on the backbone of being very relationship based.
Hmm.
And I joined a networking group that's all female founders, and I have three projects booked from that since November when I joined now.
Wow.
So it's
Is
like
that in Nashville?
no, it's just like a global, it's called
Oh, okay.
Entrepreneuria.
Cool.
Yeah, and I mean, that's been the ROI from that alone has been insane. And just having, I think my faith has helped me just focus on being as genuine as I possibly can be. And then in any conversations, you know, wanting the same from other people and trying to make
Yeah.
those connections that actually are genuine and authentic. And then basically just trusting to see what's going to come from them. And
Yep.
going into, I think I did like almost 50 coffee chats with people within that community in December, like alone. So
Wow.
I was
That's a
just
lot of
like,
coffee.
I was booked. Yeah, fortunately, mostly virtual. So I wasn't like
Okay.
jacked on caffeine. But yeah, it's been really cool to rely on the relationships and just seeing them naturally happen. Like I don't usually, if we're going back to the faith question, don't usually necessarily lead with my faith, but like sometimes I can be like, I can tell, and then I bring it up and I relate with someone, or even if I don't like, I still am being who I am and saying
Yeah.
that. And yeah, so I think it has unintentionally been a niche so far with the people that
Yeah.
I've worked with. But it's more just how I'm approaching the relationship building that I'm doing.
I love that. I have helped a couple of one-on-one clients in the past that are believers really unintentionally lean into that.
Hmm.
And I feel like one of the byproducts of creating this online, social media based brand is obviously we're looking for money and we're looking for clients and leads and all of that, but we are also looking for our community.
Yeah.
And it's even cooler than getting a high priced website or anything like that is actually getting a high priced website that then becomes a cool like client slash friend
Yeah.
after the fact that
Yeah.
you guys are able to refer business to each other and you do build out this repertoire of service providers or of businesses that you believe in because
Yeah.
you helped them on their brand or you helped them on their website or you even just help them as a friend or as a colleague in business together.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that it's really helpful in the long haul. Even like if right now it's web design and in 10 years it's branding and then maybe it goes brand messaging or
Yeah.
wherever it takes you to
Mhm.
actually see social media and the brand that you're building as a huge catalyst to creating your community and your network. And I
Yeah.
think that the more aligned and interested you are in them and they are with you comes down to being authentic and comes down to sharing what you want people to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny you're in Nashville and I actually have a client named Haley and she's in West Virginia, but she found a networking group in Nashville. It's like a female founders networking group.
Yeah.
And they do like conventions and stuff. And it is where she got so many of her first clients and so much business. So after
Yeah.
this interview, I will try and find you the link to that
Cool.
because it's definitely something worth checking out.
Thanks.
I'm curious for anybody, like for all of the people that are listening to this, even placing yourself in the position of that you've listened to so many of our interviews. I'm curious if you have any tips now, being at the place of having your highest cash month, going into a year with a lot of excitement. I'm curious if you have any tips for anybody that's listening on how to push through to get to this kind of like first big milestone opportunity or milestone moment.
Yeah. Um, I think going back to the relationship thing, first one is like you don't have to follow like the exact plan that you've seen somebody else do,
Yeah,
because I mean it works out differently for everybody, and that's just kind of how business is. Like maybe you have strengths in a certain area that other people don't, and I thought social media could be the thing that's kind of the kickstart of my business, but also I've learned that over the years I can get a little burnt out on social media because I did it for
totally.
so long. And so fortunately, like this very genuine relationship coffee chat conversations thing has been the foundation of me getting to this point, and that's not what I expected from, maybe some of the interviews that I've watched of past people. So I guess first is don't necessarily think like your plan to get there has to be the exact same thing as others that you've seen, but also don't neglect the other stories that you've seen, because I mean I'm a big note taker, so like if I'm watching a podcast and it's in giving me great valuable information, I'm gonna write down the notes, and I actually have a
Yeah.
document on my phone that's like or in Google Docs it's like Willow and Becca notes from
Oh, love
XYZ
that.
podcast and I like typed out some stuff, and I think especially before, like when I was just working on my own, I guess it was most of July. I was sitting down like, what are my systems going to be? How am I going to be set up? What's this going to look like? And in the process of building my own website, it was fully just like pulling from every single direction where I could find
Mhm.
a resource, whether that was CEO of Show It, going back to a certain, embarrassingly, I have not finished the entire course, which is crazy to
That's
say.
all.
But like when I was in the middle of building my own website, I would go back and be like, this is the exact thing I need help with. Let me go find it. And then, go from there. So yeah, just like pulling from all of the resources you can find. And free resources are great. You can get so much information from them. The courses are
Totally.
great. You can get so much information from them. So kind
Yeah,
of find that blend of things that works best for you. And then I guess last is just be willing to be flexible and trust how it's going to work out, but combine that with taking a lot of action and like maybe doing something that doesn't work and then finding out, okay, that doesn't work. Let me try something else, see if this works. Because I think that's, I mean, just the foundation of business is you can kind of think about and say the things that you want to do it all the time, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to happen unless you take the action that needs to
totally.
back them up.
Totally. I love that. And what do you feel like you are looking for this year? And is there anything that I or we in our community can do to support you?
Hmm. Um, Honestly, it's just like keeping getting up to that momentum with I guess it's, having clients consistently is the backbone of being a
Yeah.
service-based business and yeah, making sure I can replicate where I'm seem to be at right now and then
Yeah.
shift as I need to. And yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the biggest thing for this year and paying attention to things that need to change or things that should stay the same and building that consistency because it's a little
Yeah.
scary when you're this early on. You're like, oh, it's finally working. Okay, now I gotta make sure I don't screw it up and lose
Totally.
what's working right now.
Totally.
So yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you. Thank you for those. And I feel like one tip that I have for you is really leaning into that you are a relationship driven person and entrepreneur of really riding that wave of utilizing these relationships to build new relationships
Hmm.
and not neglecting the fact that like thinking even about the buyer psychology of thinking about when somebody invests into you and wants a brand or website, that's probably one of the bigger investments they've made in their business, or maybe the bigger investments they've made that year, and that they want to show it off and they want to share it with people, and that really can work in your favor if you help facilitate them being able to do that.
Hmm.
So think about even when you launch a new brand or new web design project, think about even creating an asset that might even be out of the scope or out of the contract and is almost thought of as like a little gift that's maybe like a launch reel or a launch carousel that they then become so happy with at the end and is co-branded or you even collab on Instagram where it really does become this marketable moment that they are so excited to share because they just invested in themselves and they similarly are looking for more business or looking for new clients or even clients at a higher price point upon this investment. And really thinking about like one client trying to become maybe three clients because of that relationship and the referral system.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
excited
that's
for you.
great. Thank you. I love that. That's great input.
Any interest in coming into more of a like container of a community like our academy this year?
Yeah, I kid you not, so stinking close to joining at the end of last year and then I didn't. And honestly, like the whole reason was just I'm doing business and I was trying to
Yeah.
be careful with my money.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's so epic and I love what you guys are doing. So I'm not opposed to doing it when I get to the point that
Okay.
I can, for sure. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I love everything that you guys do, so.
Well, let's try and set a goal together of that maybe we hit like something,
Mhm.
you make this goal, but something like maybe 3 months at X dollar or three
Yeah.
months above the corporate salary or something like
Mhm.
that. And let's
Yeah.
get you in there because I
And
do
at that
feel,
point, it's definitely doable.
oh,
Yeah.
it's done. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I
No
do
question.
see that there's so many women in our community that the feeling of momentum is contagious.
Hmm.
And the feeling of having a community of people behind you pushing you forward is really, really powerful,
Yeah.
especially once you have the momentum built, because then the prices can start jumping and the clients can start jumping. And I see, like, I was looking at your Instagram before our call and things like that. And I'm like, all right, like, with where you're at financially and all of the skills, this kind of Rolodex or like toolbox of skills that you have so much opportunity here.
Thanks. Thank
Yes,
you.
I'm so serious.
Thank you.
Well, to round this out, I want to ask, are there any tips that you would give to somebody that's listening to this that is at the beginning and having a hard time or listening to this and being like, okay, I've listened to other interviews, but just nothing is clicking for me? Are there any tips that you have that are for that kind of beginner version of you or beginner version of an entrepreneur?
Yeah. I guess this kind of adds on to the, you know, pulling from as many resources as you can find and but combining that with taking action. But I mean, I'm such a researcher and I feel like that helps me
Mm,
so much in what I'm doing. Like, re if you're passionate about something, it's fun to research it, like
Yeah.
look into and learn as much as you can. Or even if you're just trying to figure out if you're passionate about this and you're that early on, um, do as much research as possible and like make it a
Yeah.
fun sort of game for yourself and take notes on pros and cons of what web design could do in your life. And like
Yes.
be as realistic with yourself and honest as possible because I think you just have to have sometimes what holds you back most of the time, what holds us back from taking action is just that like I don't have a clear plan. And sometimes, it does have to just be messy action. But I think the more you can do to say I've done my piece and I can see what's good about this and I know what fear I'm addressing what fears I have and what could potentially go wrong
Yeah.
wrong, and like and I then you are kind of anticipating all the outcomes and you I don't know, maybe this is just me as a super like I like to be prepared person. I think that
Yeah.
kind of perspective can really help when you're trying to start something new. And I mean, I overthink things, I do that.
Yeah.
I know I'm an
Totally.
overthinker. So if you're kind of in that same spot, or even if you're just not totally overthinking, but not totally confident about going this direction, just yeah, dig in and learn as much as you can. Because no matter what you're learning, information that could be helpful to you, even if you don't go this direction. And
Yeah.
that's gonna be pivotal no matter what.
I love that. Well, your story has been very exciting to learn about, very inspiring, and I'm sure so many people that listen to this are going to want to learn more and also watch you as you accomplish these goals. Where is your corner of the internet that people can find you?
Yeah, right now I'm literally just on Instagram.
Perfect.
But it's at Charlotte Annalise, spelled exactly like it is on this Zoom recording. And yeah, and then my website is also just charlotteannalise.com if you want to check it out.
Amazing.
It's very funky, very unique.
I
Um,
really like the patch.
Thank you. You know what's crazy is
Yes.
I used there's like a thing called Kiddle
Okay.
that basically helps with it's like AI designs or whatever. And I was like, it's the quickest way for me to do this. So I
Yeah.
made the patch in Canva and I said, embroider that thing, and then it did.
I love it.
Yeah.
I went to your website before this just to check it out, and I was like, ooh, the thread detail on this header is very, very fun and very unique.
It was fun.
Amazing. Well, I'll have all of those things linked below, and truly just want to say thank you. It's been an honor to learn more about you and also an honor to watch you grow. And I'm super excited to watch you in this exciting year of entrepreneurship for you.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to everything you guys are doing and yeah, just thrilled to be a part of the journey.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You as well.
Bye.